Everybody, welcome back. Doing a quick hit video on the newest astonishing X-Men, Iceman. So, winter feeling vibes for any of those who celebrate the Christmas holidays. Ice, winter, cold, I guess depends what part of the world you're in, really. But being an American, I'm used to being this time of year being cold, so Iceman seems to make sense. He's going to be adding to the Astonishing X-Men team, controller, all that stuff. We'll look at the blog. My initial feelings are he seems pretty solid, honestly. Like, you know, solid as ice. Okay, that was bad. But yeah, no, I mean, my initial read-through, second read-through, I was like, I didn't dislike it. So we'll see how I feel as I read through it again with you guys. I'm not going to read through the detail, everything, but I do want to go through the kit. Kind of mention what I think of them and some stuff where I could see them use. And then, obviously, there's some Easter eggs on who the next one can be, who we mentioned in the video yesterday, who I believe is going to be coming tomorrow. So anyway, let's go jump in.
Bring me WolverThor!
Alright, so this was the blog that came out. Again, I'm not going to read through every little line on here. There's some great puns in here, some fun jokes about hot cocoa and cold and Iceman, cool new member. I always enjoy those, so I encourage you to read that yourself to get a little laugh out of it, a little enjoyment. Talks about Iceman, Bobby Drake, just being able to manipulate moisture, create ice, flexible organ, form of ice weapons, all that kind of thing. And given the codename Iceman. The part that will play into his kit a little bit here, that they talk about, he gets a bunch of slow, which is honestly to be expected. Barrier, which is awesome. Lowering enemies' armor, which is awesome. There's something later that's also on top of that armor, which is really nice that he does the enemies in rage specifically. And then he also is a nod to something that where he can reform a limb. They give him the ability to revive if he comes in with 4 astonishing X-Men allies, which I think is pretty cool. 100% chance to revive once, again, which is great. I wonder what it would be after that, but I assume 0, but we'll see. And then it goes in here to cool off with Iceman, funny. So his traits. Hero Global Mutant Controller, we mentioned that already. X-Men, Astonishing X-Men. So he's the controller of the team. You know, you look at Dark Dimension 4, Global Mutant. Honestly, I do enjoy some of the part of his kit. It's really about slowing. I'm not sure, and maybe some other barrier for himself later, but I don't see him necessarily off the bat come into Dark Dimension, but we'll look at that as we go through the kit. His basic, attacking primary and adjacent targets plus applying slow, and that's going to be the big thing with this guy, is applying slow. You want as much slow as possible. So you could potentially see this guy outside of X-Men teams if you're looking for a bunch of slow. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play with. You know, obviously Emma slows a lot of people. You know, anybody with a mass slow, Ant-Man. Not that you're going to synergize these teams, but that concept is something that you're going to want related to this guy, because the more slows, the better this guy's going to be. And there's a bunch of extra focus on that particular attack, so you're pretty much guaranteed the ability to slow. Now, first turn, you're gonna be using alt or special. I'll tell you why I think you're gonna use ultimate in a second. For special, before we get to the ultimate, called Freezing Impact. Low cooldown, 3/3 energy, which is awesome, so we'll be able to do this often, especially with somebody like Beast, who can give them some energy every so often. Attack primary target for 208% damage. If the target has slow, then it always crits and applies stun. So I don't think you're gonna want to use this ability unless the character already has slow. So I don't see this ability being the first use, because you're going to want to make sure that you get a stun out there. So in my opinion, you want to get slows out there, then hit. So you talked about basic, which could get a slow, but what does the ultimate do? Ice Slide. And we'll look at some of this stuff in a video in a second, which is, he's got some pretty cool animations. 5 of 5 energy it starts with. So in my opinion, this is going to be your first turn ability. Bury yourself for 30% of this character's max health, which, so red stars and stats as far as HP goes will be important. Then attack all enemies. All. You get everybody here for 320% damage and apply slow for +1 for each target. So depending on his speed here, if you can get slow on people. Now the question is going to be as well, when he comes back around for this special, are any characters still going to have slow on them? If they do, that's where this apply stun comes into play. And my opinion, it's going to be critical to be able to have it. Otherwise, I think he falls off a bit. If the slows just stay there for a little bit and then they'll fall off and he can't really do anything, it's like, okay, we need some, debuff extensions here. So hopefully one of the other Astonishing X-Men do that because, again, he's only applying slow. All of these slows are just for one turn. They're not for multiple turns. So, if you use this ultimate one turn, it's highly unlikely, and again, unless there's some rewind or something, that gets him going to his special before those guys go, and then therefore the slow drops off. But I love the barrier in the ultimate, and it's attacking everybody and applying slow. So that, to me, is first turn ability for sure. His passive is called Absolute Zero. On spawn, if health is full and this character has 4 more Astonishing X-Men allies, he'll revive once for 40% of this character's health. Cool. That's great. I love it. 40% isn't super high, but, hopefully with Beast, Beast will be able to bring him up quicker. So, and again, I think this is going to be a raid team. I'll mention that a little bit more in a second, but, hopefully with the only 40%, he's able to come back and get close to full HP before finishing a node. On enemy slow, bury yourself for 5% of this character's max health. So, we talked about slow with his ultimate. Hopefully, how that 5% works is if there's 5 characters, then it is, it stacks. Now, I don't know for sure if it will, but it says on enemy slow. It doesn't say per enemy slow. So I have a feeling it's just anytime that a slow gets out there, he's going to bury himself for 5%, which... this can be, better or worse depending whether this stacks or not. Or if one of the Astonishing X-Men do say extend the debuffs, if that counts towards this as well. You really want to be able to get this guy to get his barrier up and keep it up and keep going with it. On enemy turn, 30% chance to attack that enemy for 140% piercing. I just like that. It's just like, oh, you're going, I'm going to hit you. Oh, you're going, I'm going to hit you. Oh, you're go, I'm going to hit you. It's kind of a yo-yo-esque ability, but instead he's doing damage. So I really like that. I think it's a cool... I think this is the first time that's added to the game. If, again, we talked about slow a lot. If that enemy has slow, always attack that enemy for 140% piercing. So again, slows are very important for this guy. You want slows out there all the time because if somebody's slowed, that means he's constantly going to be attacking. And I could see him playing into PvP because of this as well, because Emma's a pretty popular PvP character. So, if she's got some slows out there and he's, poking people, if he's got some high damage, obviously this is piercing, but damage matters. I could see that really playing into a potential PvP match. So keep an eye on Iceman in the PvP realm as well. Lower armor by 20% for all enemies with slow. So there's no raid ties to that. You just like it. It's going to actually lower armor for everybody by 20%. I personally think that's fantastic. You want the armor lowered. 20% is pretty solid. I'm guessing there's a T4 in there, probably for 5 to 10%. I personally would think I'd more than likely recommend that, to be honest with you. Now, the part I really like, which unfortunately is only in raids, but is really, really good, is in raids, lower damage by 30% for all enemies, again, with slow. So it is absolutely critical that these slows are out there and out there as much as possible. And the fact that you want them extended, you want them stacked, you want those to be just sitting there. I mean, you think about even Graviton with this guy where it's like, okay, more slows. There's a lot of different aspects you could really play with here. But I liked that aspect where you're like, all right, well, if you're thinking about using X-Men here in a raid somewhere, and these guys more than likely are going to be more Greek raid focused than they are Alt 7. Symbiotes are... You want symbiotes for Alt 7 point whatever. I'm on 7.5. It's almost to the point where it's autoing, and I don't have crazy high red stars except for Symbiote Spider-Man and Scream I've got 6 on. I barely heal. I don't, every once in a while I do have to heal, but symbiotes are what you need for Ultimus raid. So maybe eventually there'll be a Doom raid, because Ultimus is gone, right? So it shouldn't be Ultimus 8, it should be Doom 1 if we're going to continue the raid path, which I think we might do. Who knows? Maybe they'll do something different, but we'll see. So Iceman and his kit, it's really about slows. You want slows, you want them extended. His focus is going to matter. We talked a little bit about the on the basic, he got extra focus. That's great. but you want that extra focus for his special as well as his ultimate. So when we look at his stats, when we actually get those in game, I don't know if it probably won't be an Envoy video, but whenever we get those stats, it is going to be critical to look at his focus. It's going to be important, but less critical to look at his HP. His damage also obviously is always important, but it'll really help determine how powerful this type of ability is where he's attacking on turn. So personally, I really like what I saw from Iceman. I just think, you know, he's a controller. So he's bringing things to the field that I really like. Of course, it'll depend how he plays in with the other now 3 remaining Astonishing X-Men, which, you know, I mentioned the other day, Kitty Pryde, who was the other one? Nightcrawler, and Jubilee. I couldn't remember Jubilee. So that's the 5 there, and, you know, maybe Jubilee extends, maybe Nightcrawler extends, I don't know. So we'll see. Now, the part that, you know, is the little Easter egg at the end here, Xavier School has already selected a gifted untouchable student to join the Astonishing X-Men next. So keep your eyes here for the latest on the new member. Untouchable student. In my opinion, that's more than likely Nightcrawler. You could say it's maybe Kitty Pryde because she can phase through things. We'll see, okay? We'll see who that is specifically. And here's the video of Iceman. That's probably, I'm guessing, his basic. There's some Absolute Zero passive where he's doing some damage. There's that ice slide. And actually, let's look at the damage that this guy's doing. So that's not super high damage, 19 and 20k. He's getting 25k barrier. How big was that last hit there? Is that a... Yeah, it's only, okay, so the damage there, it's okay. You know, it's not great, but who knows what... We don't know what the stats that are coming with this guy in this particular video, but again, you know, pretty deep. I personally like the animations. The animations in the game are normally top-notch. You know, and again, looking at his health bar there, you know, it looks like he's got a lot of green, you know, bars, so it looks like he might be built up pretty decently, so I'm not expecting a lot of damage from the guy, and as you probably shouldn't because he is a controller. So that's the Iceman speculation, whatever you want to call it, kit review for this guy. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing, but again, we've got 3 more characters coming. Tomorrow, in my opinion, it's either going to be Kitty Pryde or Nightcrawler. My first inclination was that that's Nightcrawler, but I could see where they could say, well, you know, Kitty Pryde phases and you can't touch her. It's like, okay, well, Nightcrawler teleports and you can't touch him. So we'll see. I guess we'll have to wait till tomorrow. Until then, we'll speculate. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you want to come discuss on the Discord, link in the description below. Hammer down like button, notification bell, subscription button, all that kind of stuff. Till next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.